Well, hey everybody, this is Robert Vermillion, R. Vermill 47, coming to you from Dallas, Texas. And today is February the 27th, 2012. A couple more days left in the month, and we'll be into March. And that's springtime, weather-wise anyway. Uh, Not that it's been too wintry to begin with. I am making this video at 10:37 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I apologize for the roughness of the sound in my video. I ordered a new microphone so that I don't have to use the one on my cam, and it should be coming in the next couple of days, so hopefully you can hear me better. Okay, let's take a look at the solar wind forecast, and this is the same one that we've looked at for the last couple of days because we've not had any other coronal mass ejections since then, and we watched this come out and come across, and they forecasted that the uh, shock front would make it here like right around the 27th. And if you remember, I thought it was going to make it a little earlier than that. Well, I was wrong, and they were right on. So you go, people at the Space Weather Prediction Center. Good for you. I just, for some reason, there was something that telling me it was going to get here quicker than it did, but they hit it right on. So anyway, again, what we've got to look at here is we do have another coronal hole that's going to be coming around, and will probably cause elevated solar wind parameters, and it could cause some geomagnetic agitation, probably about the last day of the month or maybe the 1st of March. Again, that's barring any unforeseen coronal mass ejections, solar flares, filament eruptions, you name it, we get them. Okay, now here is the solar wind parameters from the ACE satellite. And as you can see, again, here is right at the end of the UT day on the 26th, we had the impact. We went from 400 to about 550 kilometers per second. Excuse me. On the solar wind speeds, and that was showing the shock in the solar wind speed, and that's when the coronal mass ejection arrived. And again, this was just a slight glance of what's going on from what could have happened if it hit us head on. So it just kind of agitated us, and the BZ component went north, which helped keep the magnetosphere more stable. Then we've had it kind of been disturbed now, up and down. It's kind of still trying to readjust and calm back down from that side swipe. I've noticed in the last 3 hours the BZ component has stayed south. Now it's not very strong. The VT, this total B component, gives you what the total strength of all of this would be. And it's not that strong, but it is south, so we are going to continue to look at some geomagnetic agitation. Probably not necessarily storm, maybe some substorming. Winds are still in the 400 to 500 kilometers per second range. Temperature has begun to fall off, and the density is probably the highest density we've seen in a long time. So we are still being buffeted by a pretty decent solar wind. Now here's a look at the GOES magnetometer. This would be the magnetometer aboard the GOES spacecraft satellite. And let's see, can you tell whenever the shockwave hit the spacecraft? I would say right there, bang, it rings it like a gong. And this was what? Right before the UT day, February 27th started. Again, kudos to the Space Prediction Center. This was a great forecast for them. And as you can see, once it hit the geomagnetic, or the magnetometer aboard the geomagnetic spacecraft, I'll get it right in a minute. The conditions aboard the GOES geomagnetometer showed increased geomagnetic agitation. I couldn't pull out of that no matter what, could I? Anyway, as you can see, we still remain shaky. We ride along the semi-smooth lines, and then something whams us, and again, our geomagnetic field just kind of rings like a bell, and then it just kind of vibrates and does all kinds of stuff. And as I showed you, with the BZ component in the previous section, staying south, it's going to continue to be, and the density up, it's going to continue to kind of agitate our geomagnetic field. So we're just going to have to kind of keep an eye on that. Again, substorming. Something interesting, or just for correlation purposes, when this came in, we'll see what it did, and I'll show you on the KP index as to what it ended up registering. So here we go with the estimated planetary K index, and right after 0 UT day on 27th, we made it to a K4, which is substorm. Anything above a 4 would be considered a G1 storm. So we had a substorm. Again, probably there was some. I'm sure there was some aurora seen, mainly around the poles, but a weak geomagnetic disturbance at best that caused a little substorming. You can see we dropped off there for a little, and it's been back up, so it's still in the unstable mode. It's still trying to quieten down, but it's just interesting to see the last frame where right here you saw the big bounce on the magnetometer, and then now we see that what reacted was an elevated KP index, which is what we use to measure how agitated the geomagnetic field is. And again, we made it to a K4, KP4, and again, would be substorm. Anything above a 4 would be start a G1 storm. Now, here's the some more solar wind parameters. I've shown you these last couple of days. This is electrons up here, and they've pretty much calmed down. And we see drops here, and that's because we have been having a slight influx of protons. So particle density has just been stronger than usual over the last 24 to 36 hours. As you can see, these are protons down here. They're still elevated. Now this little blip right here, I would just probably attribute that to an anomaly, again, in transmission or something. Could be totally something else. Who knows? Could be ET trying to, ding on the spacecraft, but I doubt it. Anyway, parameters here show that we still have elevated particle densities, but they're not like in serious elevations or serious state at all. Now we take a look at our good old friend, the induction magnetometer from Gakona, Alaska at the HAARP research facility. And this was along yesterday, right before the UT Day 27. And this could have been a precursor to the oncoming geomagnetic conditions being elevated whenever the coronal mass ejection made it to the Earth, or to our, sorry about that, when it made it to the atmosphere or ionosphere, the ionosphere. We are seeing some PC1 pulsations, and we've been seeing those on and off occasionally. Getting some pretty intense, very low band feedback here, and we'll just have to watch and see what that means. It may just be, again, it could be particle density, but it's reaction from the ionosphere to something. So again, just to show you, not anything that tells me something's really happening, but it tells me that we keep a watch out, because this keeps the atmosphere, or the ionosphere, should I say, agitated, and we'll just keep an eye on that. So just watch your local, wherever you watch your local web stuff to get your solar information. Keep an eye on it and see what it does. It's kind of interesting to study. This is a quick look at a solar disk picture taken I guess it would be yesterday evening. Just to show you, kind of give you an idea of where coronal holes are. And coronal holes are spaces in the coronosphere where the particles are blowing out of the sun at high speeds. And so we've got a pretty decent one here about central median and just to the north. And we could be seeing that begin to affect our wind parameters, solar wind parameters. We've got another one that'll be rotating this way. Pretty decent. The polar coronal hole is pretty decent looking down here. So I mean, it's stretching up far enough north in latitude that it could even add to some solar wind speed and solar particle density changes. So again, I just thought I'd show you this just to show you that we do look at a couple of other things to see what's happening solar wind-wise. Okay, let's get just a quick check on the weather because it may get active over the next couple of days. Today doesn't look like there's any severe weather potential out there. There is some areas that may receive some thunderstorms, but this is the day 2 convective outlook, which would be valid for tomorrow, Tuesday, February the 28th. We do have a slight risk of thunderstorms here across most of Arkansas, barely down here to me, Dallas, Texas. I'm not looking for much. Moisture's kind of scarce down here. Another little one here in southern Nebraska, northern Kansas. All the blue-green area is just generic thunderstorms. But again, elevated risk of severe thunderstorms in these yellow areas, and that shows that there could be the potential for some strong damaging winds and maybe some large hail. Again, that's the day 2 outlook. Let me go ahead and show you the day 3 outlook. Okay, the day 3 outlook does show that there is a continuation of a slight chance of severe weather. It continues its eastward movement across the central sections of the nation. And so this area, again, would be some more areas to watch for, again, damaging wind, large hail. And again, anytime you can get isolated tornadoes out of any severe thunderstorm. That's just the way nature goes. But I just thought I'd go ahead and bring up a couple of the weather things and tell you that there are going to be some severe weather reports in the coming days, over the next couple of days. But after all, we are in spring. Well, we almost are in spring. It feels like spring. Some of my trees are already starting to bud out down here in Texas. I have not had a day at my house here in the city of Dallas that we have gone below freezing this year. So again, it's just going to be a bad bug year. We have mosquitoes and fleas. Go check out some more flea stuff from my animals. Anyway, that's it. As I usually do, I ramble and ramble, but I hope that you get something out of my videos. Again, I expect to get my new microphone in the next couple of days, and you'll be able to hear me a lot better, and I will try to talk better because I have a tendency to mumble, and then plus it has to go all the way over to the camera, and of course the camera's doing its best to pick me up. Anyway, hope all y'all have a really great day, and this is Robert Vermillion, R Vermil 47 from Dallas, Texas. I'll check y'all later. Have a good one.